Thomas Midgley Jr. was an American mechanical engineer and chemist that was a key factor in the development of the gasoline additive tetraethyllead. At the time, cars had a problem with engines making a knocking sound. Midgley, who was granted over 100 patents, set out to solve the problem, but his methods were considered unethical. Fearing the public would reject his idea of using lead in his anti-knock compound, he branded the additive as ethyl, avoiding all mention of lead in reports and advertising. Working in direct contact with the substance, he contracted lead poisoning. But that's not the invention that killed him. In 1940, at the age of 51, Midgley contracted polio, which left him severely disabled. He invented an elaborate system of strings and pulleys to help others lift him from bed. One day, while trying to get out of bed, he became entangled in the ropes of this device and died of strangulation. Franz Reichelt was a French tailor and inventor. He wanted to make a suit that would convert into a parachute in case the person wearing it needed to eject from an aircraft. His initial tests with dummies proved to be successful, but in order to get sponsors for his invention, he needed a live demonstration. He decided to put on the suit himself and chose the first level of the Eiffel Tower as a jumping platform. His friends, local spectators, and even a Parisian police inspector tried to dissuade him from jumping, but he still jumped anyway. On his way down, the parachute failed to deploy, and he crashed into the icy ground at the foot of the tower. His right leg and arm were crushed, his skull and spine broken, and he was bleeding from his mouth, nose, and ears. His dead body was removed from the scene and transported to a nearby hospital. After the fatal fall, curious onlookers measured the depth of the crater left by the impact. William Bullock was an American inventor and multiple patent holder in the early 1800s. His improvements on existing rotary presses helped to revolutionize the printing industry. Bullock's press allowed for continuous large rolls of paper to be automatically fed through the rollers, instead of the tedious method of feeding the machine by hand. The press could print up to 30,000 sheets an hour, which at the time was an unheard of amount of paper. One morning, he was making adjustments to a new press that was being installed for a Philadelphia newspaper. One of the machine's components became dislodged, so he decided to kick it back into place. Subsequently, his leg was crushed when it was caught in the machine. After a few days, he developed gangrene and died during an operation to amputate the leg. Canadian professional stuntman Carl Sucuk was most famously known for going over Niagara Falls in 1984 in his own custom-made barrel. The bright red 9-foot-long barrel was sent over the falls, plummeting a total of 167 feet. Sucuk emerged from his invention bleeding, but alive. After much media coverage and a host of sponsorship deals, Sucuk felt completely confident in his achievement, so much so that he wanted to up the ante on his stunt by dropping the barrel from the top of the Texas Astrodome into a tank of water with him inside. Famed stuntman Evel Knievel tried to persuade Sucuk not to go through with the stunt, calling it the most dangerous he had ever seen. As Sucuk climbed inside of the barrel dangling 180 feet above the tank, the barrel released prematurely and began spinning out of control toward the ground. Instead of landing inside the water, it hit the rim of the tank, crushing Sucuk inside. The crowd cheered, thinking that the stunt went off without a hitch. Little did they know that he had instantly died upon impact. Li Si was a Chinese politician of the Qin dynasty in 280 BC. He was known as a noble leader and was loved by the people for lowering taxes and unifying large regions of China. But as prime minister, he developed what was known as the Five Pains, a system of torture used to execute those who were considered criminals. The Five Pains method involved tattooing, cutting off the nose, amputation of the feet, castration, and death. The emperor at the time, Qin Shi Huang, had appointed a successor to the throne before he died. Li Si did not like the decision because he feared that he would lose his position as prime minister. Li Si somehow tricked the newly appointed emperor to commit suicide before he could become ruler. Word of Li Si's evil deeds spread, and he was captured for his crimes of treason. Li Si was killed in 208 BC by being cut in half, which happened to be one of the Five Pains methods that he had created.